Welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors. My name is Chris, bringing it to you here from Westlake Village, California, where it is beautiful, it is dark, it is early, it's about 6:40 a.m. And it's Wednesday, November 17th, so we have some very important things to talk about today. As we did mention yesterday, if we had any kind of a daily closure below 65,000, that was going to give us targets down to the $60,000 base. And we did get a little bounce off support here so far. We're currently sitting at about $60,000, and we did say that we are still looking for a bit of a bounce up to at least 62,500 to 63,000. If you look at the 4-hour, that would be right in line. The 62.5 is right in line with that yellow 21, and the 63,000 is kind of right where we, somewhere I'd imagine we get a little bounce somewhere around there. And, again, we have a couple of fun days here of whether Bitcoin is going to put in another lower high on the daily time frame here, because we did get our first lower low. So that is very important to identify trend. How do we identify trend? Well, if an uptrend, Bitcoin is making higher lows and higher highs. A downtrend, Bitcoin is making lower lows and lower highs, right? So we got our first lower low, and we're going to be on lower high watch. And again, it's Wednesday. Hope you have a very happy Wednesday. And if you're watching these videos, you have any questions, feel free to post a comment below, share the video, like and subscribe. And if you want to catch some of the content to follow some of the hottest altcoins, that'll be at the end of the video. And with that in mind, let's get right into it and take a look at our underlying market dynamics, starting off with the Bitcoin dominance here. Ticking up to a 44% and small leg up. And we did say we are expecting this to be a macro low, continuing on to the upside. And with a daily closure back above 44%, I am going to make say we make a run at least back up to 47%. We got the fear and greed index here ticking down to a 52. So people less greedy as Bitcoin slides down about $10,000. That's typical. Open interest slightly ticking down from 15 billion to 14.75 billion. And you got the global leverage ratio actually took a leg up. So again, a big incoming move coming here soon, and I would expect bulls need to take over this week, if not today, by making a daily closure back above this pivot right here at 65,500. I'd even call it 65,000 if the bulls want to stay in control. And I do want to bring us back to something last April. If you can see here, last April, Bitcoin very similarly put in a new all-time high, and then it came down and made the first lower low right there, and we could even identify that with a little arrow. So first lower low, and then we were on lower high watch, right? And so we took out the prior daily low right there, and again, lower high watch. And we use this in confluence with what's called the pi cycle top indicator, which we used to call macro tops. And I am going to put that on for us so you can take a look, because we will be following up on this as we go into the future here. But the pi cycle top, this is the BLX index. It's the longest price history for Bitcoin's history on a daily time frame. And it's very useful if you do want to take a look at prior year's history. But I'm going to throw on our pi cycle top indicator, which is right here. This is going to call our market tops and market bottoms, and it's really easy to use. And right now, so the last pi cycle top indicator that went off here, Bitcoin's price was right at, call it 62,000. It flashes red, and you can see this blue line is the indicator that starts when it starts to get a negative slope. That's a big indicator. Hey, correction is coming. If you want to look at the last one it called here, let's see if I can put this a little better on a log chart, maybe. Okay, let's try again. Anyways, it's kind of hard to read right here, but the last pi cycle top indicator that went off was right there at 19,000, calling the last high in December 2017. So we will be keeping a close eye on this thing, and we'll go back and backdate it. It called the high before that as well, which is, oh, that's a lot easier to see. This high here, Bitcoin at $1,000, and then you can see it retraced down to $400. But we'll get more into this as we go on in the future. But that is our cycle top indicator used to call market tops, and that's how we will be judging, you know, the next major top on Bitcoin. And back on to our regular price charts here, our primary price action chart, which does have quite a lot on there, and I'd be happy to give you some detailed information on that. Pretty soon I'm going to put out a little tutorial on how to use TradingView and how to set up these indicators. But again, going back to last April on Bitcoin, did want to identify, yeah, so the first lower low, lower high, the pi cycle top indicator went off right at about 60,000. So you use all these trend, momentum, and volatility and these indicators in confluence with each other to give you a general bias to the upside or the downside. So we got the first lower low, lower high, pi cycle top indicator went off, and boom, we got a 50% correction down to 30,000. And what do we have here? So Bitcoin made a new all-time high here, and it just put in the first lower low, right? So we took out this low here by putting in a lower low. And again, very similar to what we saw back then. So what are we going to do now? We're going to be on lower high watch in confluence with the pi cycle top indicator, which again, that indicator is not even beginning to have a negative slope. So I would not be calling a macro top at this point. So looking at today's price action, again on the daily, there are, three higher lows here and now a lower low. So we're going to be on lower high watch. If Bitcoin cannot get back above 65,000, which is the 0.5 fib retracement, which I will put that up here. And so the 0.5 coming in here, let's go wick to wick, I guess. Yeah, it's really the 618. So we got to get back above the 618 fib retracement, not the 0.5. Coming here at about 65,000. As long as we're living below there on the daily, I am generally going to be looking much further south, around 55,000 for a bounce. And I don't think it stops there. Probably heads down to around 52,000. However, again, I think, and that would be this level right here. And if I throw back on our moving averages, you can see that coming in at the cyan, 89 at 50,000, and kind of the low side there on the, I believe I put that trend line in on the weekly. Yeah, which would be the yellow 21 on the weekly. So, sorry guys, it's hard to make it really nice and easy to see, but that would be our yellow 21. And as long as we're, again, I think we're very likely to get a bounce here. And if Bitcoin fails to reclaim 65,000 right here, or even 65.5, above that red 10 simple, somewhere in that range, if we fail to reclaim that area, or the last spike high, then, you're probably going to get some major targets to the downside. Nothing is actionable right now. In fact, if you look at BBBWP on our lower term time frames, which is our volatility indicator, you can see BBBWP is kind of contracting right here on the hourly. We can look on the 2 hour. Yeah, it's coming down hard, contraction. And then on the 4 hour, still kind of ticking up. So on our lower term time frames, it's beginning to contract, which does give me the bias that we are going to get that bounce up. Let's take a look at Bitcoin on the 2-day. Any closure, any closure on the 2-day below, 58,500, and I will be looking for that move down to 53 to 52,000. 5-day, and let's clear up some of those lines there. So the 5-day is the one thing kind of, helping us out here, I think. And that's if we can hold this red 10 simple, that's generally bullish. You can see it likes to play off of this in trending markets on the 5-day. Additionally, on the weekly, I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin come test down that red 10 simple. Weekly closure is going to be in 4 days and 10 hours. If you look at CMEs, very, very similar chart here. So again, we got to reclaim that $65,000 region. And on the weekly, like next week, if we can't close back above 65.5, right, it's just going to be another lower high, right? This is a high. That would be another lower high. And, that would not be looking good. I'm not expecting a 50% drawdown, but at least $10,000 down to around that $52,000 mark. That would be the yellow 21. And, as long as the pi cycle top indicator hasn't fired off, I'm still going to be macro bullish. Again, in trending markets, you can see here on the weekly time frame, Bitcoin does like to kind of hold up on that weekly 21. You can see it bounced off there very nicely, bounced off there, and that was a trending market. And that was in the prior, bull market of 2017. And yeah, what else did I wanted to cover here? So there is a lot a lot at stake right here, right now. If Bitcoin does not pull itself back up, it won't even be a trap. So the next very few days are rather important. And again, I will just pull up this fib retracement so you can see kind of where from wick to wick in general, we need to get back above the 618, which is coming in right at about 65 to 65.5 on spot or CMEs. And that would, help us get back to immediately bullish. Something else to point out is on our higher term time frames, you can see our momentum oscillators are beginning to turn down. So what does that mean? If momentum is going down as Bitcoin is making higher lows, it's kind of consolidation. I would almost view it as a bullish reset. But again, Bitcoin does got to pick itself up right now. And so that's the 2-day, Stokes are pointed way down. 3-day, Stokes are, let's see, what are they doing here? Stokes are crossing down. And let's go 5-day, cross down, weekly, cross down. So, and getting kicked out of the bullish control zone. Again, the week is not over. We still have 4 days and 10 hours. So Bitcoin could easily pick itself back up here. So I wouldn't let the turbulence ruin your flight. I'd consider any dips, a major buying opportunity. Again, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But I do want to bring our attention now to Ethereum versus the US dollar. And so we're getting the, on the daily here, we're getting the first major bounce off the green 55-day moving average, which is very typical. And now what am I expecting? Ethereum to range between the green 55 and the yellow 21, between 4,100 and 4,400. However, I would get immediately bullish with a daily closure back above, I would say 4,600. As long as we are living below 4,500, it's just going to be lower highs on the daily, right? So very similar to Bitcoin. I do think a bounce is very, very likely here, somewhere around 4,400 to 4,300. And we do need to pick it back up here and make some new all-time highs. So Ethereum, kind of show us what you're worth. Again, the daily range between, basically Ethereum, between 4,100 and 4,400. And if we get a daily closure above 4,600, this level right here, looking for trend continuation. Any kind of a daily closure below today's low, which is at 40,050. I'm going to be looking for a quick move down to about 3,800, small bounce, and continuation down to about 3,500. So that's it for Ethereum today. A lot of people are kind of wondering, well, what does this mean for the other altcoins? And with that said, at the tail end of a bull market, there are going to be some winners, right? Some coins that are hot no matter what. People want to take profits from their Bitcoin and their Ethereum gains, and then they want to go for some exceptional returns, 5, 10x, 20x. And so I want to bring our attention to some of our stronger actors. These are coins that seem to have been leading the altcoin market. They've been very strong. And even when Bitcoin and Ethereum have been dumping, these have been pumping. Again, this isn't financial advice. I highly recommend you do your own research. I'm simply looking at the trend right now towards the metaverse. And the first one I want to bring up here is Avalanche, symbol AVAX. And a lot of people were asking why, when Bitcoin went down yesterday, why this one went up. So the best answer for that is simply this, right? The best answer is that it's a very strong chart. It's a relatively strong chart no matter what. If you look at this chart, let's put it on a weekly. Let's take off those fib retracements here. So from a technical perspective, it's a very strong chart. Higher lows, higher highs on the weekly, blue sky breakout. Nothing to hate about this chart. And what is Avalanche? This thing, it's just been going up and to the right. It's a competitor to Ethereum. It has much cheaper gas fees. And we actually made an educational video last week that explains the technology and the purpose of Avalanche in the ecosystem. So go back to our playlist, check it out. And so what do we have here? We saw a pretty nasty move on Bitcoin over the last week, down $10,000 from the highs. And what did Avalanche do over the last week? Well, from last week to now, we're up 10%, right? Or almost up 10%. While Bitcoin is down $10,000. So this is one of the stronger actors, and something that my mentor always taught me is the strong get stronger and the weak get weaker. So if and when Bitcoin wants to pick itself back up, I think this asset will generally be rewarded as long as we are closing weeklies and dailies above this pivot here at, call it $74. I'm generally macro bullish on this asset. On the lower term time frames, if we want to look here, we do have a bit of a breakout on the 4 hour, kind of breaking this range right here just in the last 4 hours. And I would say, yeah, what I would say here is, well, what's the breakout target here from this consolidation from here to there? We're looking at a short-term target of about $110. I would say, though, any kind of a daily closure above 107, my next target. And that's really conservative, right? At 107. But the next target is going to be, don't ask me why my computer's giving me a hassle here, but here we go. Next target, about 115. If you want to be a little more aggressive, you can go wick to wick on this last daily consolidation. And yeah, next target about 116. Invalidation on this asset, any kind of daily closure back below $83. Another one, metaverse coin here called Mana versus USD, also known as Decentraland. And what do we have here? Consolidation on the daily between a range of 309 and 367, any kind of a daily closure above 370 or call it 370. I'm looking for the measure move to get hit up to about 420. And if 420 gets taken out, I'm looking for a continuation up to about 550. If we do break below 240 here, things could get really nasty. So I don't think that's what's happening right here, but that would be my invalidation point. Next coin here I want to bring our attention to, Sand or Sandbox. Really start getting educated on these assets, do your own research, but Sand versus US dollar. And we did say yesterday we had an ascending triangle here, and with an ascending triangle, typically these break at about 75% of their width, and we did get a breakout above that last high at $3.20 yesterday, and we hit our first fib target. So if this holds true, you know, the measure move on this asset is going to be up there at about $4.12. I'm, not expecting that to get hit immediately today or tomorrow, but that would be the measure move. And invalidation on this asset comes with any kind of a daily closure back below 220, and I'd say the measure move gets canceled right there. Actually, any kind of a daily closure back below 308, and I would say that move had failed. That's it for today, guys. I hope you guys will throw down a like and subscribe. Post a comment if you have any questions about today's market analysis. Thanks. Have a blessed day. We'll check in with you soon.